got a double dip for you here on Friday, May 1st. I'm Thomas Frank Carr. Normally, I do not put these in a timestamp. I usually like to keep these as time capsules where you can watch them at any point and understand what's going on with Penn State football recruiting with these individual players. But you get 2 in 1 day, and so you got to talk about that aspect where Penn State, 2 in 2 days, Penn State football landed Stanley and Montgomery last night. We talked about that on Friday afternoon-ish morning, and now we're here for another commitment in the class of 2027. Ryan Snyder back with me. Ryan, who are we talking about now?
A fun one, I think. Wide receiver Jamir Dean from Alcoa, Tennessee, 6'2", 175. We have him as a high 3-star at Rivals. Just got him graded the other day. Coming in at number 45 nationally, number 16 in Tennessee. And, the industry rankings, they'll fill themselves out here with time. He's 681 there, but he still needs to get an ESPN ranking. So they're not exactly correct at the moment, I would say. I think this was what's wild about this one, or interesting to me about this one, is before Kashif Moore was even officially announced as Penn State's next wide receiver post or coach, taking over for Noah Pauley, he would already offer Jamir Dean. Obviously, we knew, reports leaked, right, that Moore was taking over, and Penn State would go on to announce it a couple of days later. But literally, I'm talking within 48 hours, maybe. Jamir Dean was one of the first wide receivers to pick up an offer from Penn State. And what's interesting about that, though, too, is of course he committed, but UConn was one of the schools he was really interested in, and Moore didn't even recruit him at UConn. So it's just kind of wild how that kind of all worked out. And, I think it really came down to, one, the power of Penn State, the brand, all the prestige, all that kind of stuff. He gets an offer and then sets an official visit with Penn State, I think within a week. So obviously there was a lot of interest, but you got to come visit, right? And that's a big part of it. And he was able to do that last week. And I think coming to campus, seeing everything, meeting with Campbell, meeting with Moore, all those guys, and really getting that full experience. And oh, by the way, leaving there with the knowledge and understanding that hey, we'll take you tomorrow, whenever you're ready. That's how you get to this point. His OV schedule was going to be Arkansas, Purdue, UConn, Penn State. Obviously, Penn State should be able to beat out all 3 of those schools, and they were able to do that, of course. But, more so, I knew he was thinking about potentially ending it here soon, but then he kind of went quiet. And then he also said he planned to still take his OVs and take his time. Well, I think Penn State also made it clear, hey, buddy, let's make moves before it's too late, of course, because, they're in the mix with a handful of other wide receivers. So I think this is a fun one. I could actually, we just graded him. Like I said, Rivals just graded him the other day as a high 3-star, 89 right off the bat. And usually when that happens, that tells me they have some 4-star potential in guys, and they want to get a quicker evaluation or a deeper evaluation. Last year, 53 receptions, 141 yards, or excuse me, 1,141 yards, 16 touchdowns. Led his team to a high school state championship in football and basketball. And by the way, watch his basketball film. This guy can jump. Really impressive. And if you don't want the basketball film to realize he can jump, he just had a 6'8" high jump the other day. Last year he was running, I think it was low 11s in the 100 meter. Just ran a 10.8 the other day in the 100 meter, by the way, and also has a 21.99 200 meters. So there's speed there. The hops are there. Boy, I'd love to see a broad jump or a vertical if we could ever get one. Maybe he'll come up in camp this year. T. Frank, and we'll get that. But a lot of really fun athleticism here. Great kid. A lot of things here that I've really enjoyed learning and getting to know him. And I think Penn State fans are really going to enjoy getting to know him as well.
You are speaking my language when it comes to receivers, all in a 6'2", almost 6'2" package. Get to what the film looks like and kind of the details shaded in the picture that you just painted there from the athletic and numbers perspective in just 1 second. But I got a quick question here. I believe the last time we talked about him on the Blue White Illustrated live show, the recruiting show, we talked about him potentially getting some interest late from Tennessee. Do I have that correct?
That was Parker Newman.
Parker Newman. Okay, thank you. All right.
Yeah,
so I knew there was a Tennessee prospect they were interested in.
Another Tennessee prospect.
Yeah. Tennessee is on the list here, but not as an offer on his Rivals recruiting page. So I just wanted to clean that up previously because, this is the thing: is you're saying it, I'm saying it. His skill and his potential and his abilities are all no disrespect to Purdue, Connecticut, or Arkansas, like he's on the Penn State level of an athlete and as a prospect. So I just wanted to make sure I had that correct. Make sure you never miss anything here on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel, so you can be like, no, T. Frank, you got that wrong, and you could be saying it with Ryan by liking the video and subscribing here to the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel. Like this video always helps us out with the almighty algorithm. Ryan, when I was giving my pitch there, did you have something you wanted to reply quickly with?
No, I'm sorry. I'm reading. I got a lot going on right now. We got a bunch of TweetDeck stuff and guys out visiting, and I apologize. I'm looking at 4 different things at the moment. But
here's what I'm going to do for you. We're going to hear from AJ Freedom Financial so you can handle your business off screen. In football and in finance, having a strong game plan makes all the difference. AJ Freedom Financial helps individuals build personalized financial strategies that align with their goals, timelines, and risk tolerance. From investment guidance and retirement planning to 401k rollovers, HSA assistance, and legacy and wealth strategies, AJ Freedom Financial offers thoughtful, one-on-one support backed by industry experience and a commitment to transparency. Whether you're starting to invest, planning for retirement, or you simply want a second look at your financial approach, AJ Freedom Financial is here to help you make informed, confident decisions. Schedule a no-obligation consultation today at www.ajffi.com. Call 866-383-6899 or email info@ajffi.com. Again, that's ajffi.com. Call 866-383-6899 or email info@ajffi.com. AJ Freedom Financial, helping Nittany Lions fans plan for what's next. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Gradient Securities, LLC. Arden Hills, Minnesota, 866-991-1539. Member FINRA, SIPC. Gradient Securities, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor, offers investment advisory services under the DBA of Gradient Wealth Management. Gradient Securities, LLC, and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting services. Insurance products and services offered through AJ Freedom Financial. AJ Freedom Financial and Freedom Financial Insurance, LLC are not affiliated with Gradient Securities, LLC. So if you haven't noticed by now, the way that these videos are structured, the way I like them to work is Ryan and Fitz give you the story of the, give the nuts and bolts of the recruitment, the important details you need to know about how they landed at Penn State and some of their stories. And then on the back end, like I want them to go first, and then I'll say like, hey, here's what I've seen from watching full game footage, watching some partial full game footage or the highlights, so, depending on the commit. And then sometimes you're stepping on a bunch of things I want to say, and because I'm so excited about to talk about a prospect. I think Jamir Dean is a diamond in the rough, and you don't get these as much anymore in recruiting with so many different ways to watch film. There's a ton of his video online, by the way, if you want to go on YouTube and see some of his highlights. He is an elite deep threat. Matt Campbell loves big receivers. So it's not just that they're, physically tall. They have big frames where it looks like Jamir Dean could be 6'2", 210 and, be the kind of receiver you see here on film. He's got a great frame to fill in. He's explosive. His acceleration is great. He looks very fluid and natural in space. He can be sudden on these catch and run opportunities, on RPOs and things like that. To me, he is a Z receiver, just based on the body type, the fact that he's got those catch and run skills. But I think, in terms of overall package, he could also play X for them if they wanted him to. So I'm very, very, you were just saying all the things and I wanted to be like, yes, preach in the background, except that dual audio doesn't work with people talking over each other on the internet. This guy to me is a secret 4-star. He's going to be, in the Rivals 300. To me, I'm just questioning how high we're willing to put him in terms of, is he a top 150 prospect? Because I could see some of these things from a positional perspective. The other thing I love is I saw no drops on film. Looks like he has great hands, concentration through the catch. Maybe not as many contested catches because he's just getting open all the time. And it looks like he has, the ability to catch the ball away from his body. And you mentioned his vertical leap. So all of those really fit into what they're looking for within this offense. His best trait, though, is his over-the-shoulder catching skills. He is in it right here. You can watch it here on the YouTube channel. He has elite over-the-shoulder catching skills that I have not seen from a high school receiver in a little bit, where he can track the ball, he can get his head into that position where he can watch it come down into the basket, and has great feel for where the ball is in the air. So I don't see any skills missing from a physical perspective. I love his positional abilities. To me, this is the number one receiver in the class. I think Landon Bloom is a really good receiver. And Jamir Dean is as good of a receiver, and I think clearly faster and more explosive. And that's saying something because Landon Bloom is a really good deep threat. So they've got two big-bodied, explosive downfield threats with a little variety mixed in there. Dean is more of that like speed and explosiveness, and Bloom is kind of a maybe a little more of a possession jump ball catch receiver who can, play through contact and has enough speed to be a threat at any level of the field. So I love the balance of what they have here in the class. I think they got their X and their Z, and they got a lot of crossover talent where, I mean, Ryan, I really, really like this receiving class. I know they've got two of them. I know it's just two, but this is really good, I think.
Man, we've gotten so excited about receivers over the years.
I know.
Hopefully we don't jinx them. I think maybe we're the ones jinxing them all the time. But go ahead.
But this is not. Who's the North Carolina or the Virginia receiver last year in 25 that was super talented? Everyone wanted to call him Deebo Samuel. I already just short-term memory is just erased it from my
moving
head.
on. Yeah, I'm not sure who you knew with the Deebo Samuel one. Go ahead.
But I'm sure we'll get it in the comments. He was more of a prospect with upside. Size and speed, but a lot of really rawness at the position. These guys have position, like there is not a projection to the next level for their positional skills. And to me, that's the biggest thing is I can say with a good bit of confidence, these guys can play receiver. It's going to be like all the little details for any regular recruit that comes into position of like, how quickly can you learn, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not like, do you know how to play the position? Both these guys know how to play the position.
Talk about Davion Brown, right? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but he was there in there as well.
Not just your Rodgers.
No, just I'll get it in a minute. I'll get it when I throw to you here at the end. Dean, there is a little bit of like route running he needs to just be exposed to. He doesn't run a lot of like deep digs or things that are going to ask him to cut hard, plant, and have good transitions. He is a very linear receiver on his highlight film, which why wouldn't you if you had him on your roster? So there's some things to learn. Like there are some areas he needs to develop, but I'm very high on this player. Ryan,
Alcoa's a good school too, 4A in Tennessee. I believe Tennessee's a 6A state, right? So not the highest level there, but 4A certainly quality. And Alcoa's produced a ton of players too. They've sent at least well over a dozen guys to the Power 4 level. Randall Cobb played there, by the way. So I'm not saying he's Randall Cobb or anything like that, but he's a little different than Randall Cobb too. Randall Cobb I don't think was 6 foot, but one thing I will say is we have him at 6'2", 175. He's probably a little closer to 6'1.5" at the moment, but certainly still some room to grow. And as you mentioned earlier, 210 doesn't seem unrealistic for someone then to keep their size, speed, athleticism, all those kind of things intact. So. Yeah, this is certainly one of the more exciting ones I think we've seen with Campbell. And like I said, it was interesting. He wasn't even ranked for us a couple of weeks ago. And, it was a guy I kept chipping away at with Charles and them. And, they finally got a good eval on him or, best eval that they could, at least for the time being. And, immediately 89, which, when I see that, I'm always like, okay. They don't always just throw an 89 on guys right off the bat. And I'm sure they'll watch more game film and stuff like that. But this certainly seems like a player who could end up being a 4-star when it's all said.
Yeah. I was thinking of Matt Otten.
That's
who I was thinking.
Okay.
That's who I was
2025. I'm sorry. You did say 2025. I was thinking 2026. My fault.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened with Penn State recruiting in the last couple of years at receiver. So they all kind of, no disrespect to the individuals, they all kind of blur together when you're trying to get all these guys squared away and remember off the fly, off the cuff here. Okay, so that'll do it. That's what I got on Jamir Dean. A little bit of do you have a look ahead for us? Do you have anything that you got an eye out? We have over.
Well, I didn't see Stanley Montgomery coming yesterday, T-Frank. That's why I went to the Phillies game. That didn't work out too well for me. So we did see Jamir Dean potentially coming, and I thought that would be, this weekend or potentially even today. So we were really more prepared for that one. So sorry for the double videos today. That is my fault. I thought I had a day off. I did not have a day off, apparently. And we will circle back on all those things. But listen, they're in a good spot with a lot of guys. And I think as we saw with Stanley Montgomery, Montgomery wasn't really even 100% planning, or at least wasn't quite there. And then, he knew Malloy and them were coming to school and hey, let's just get this over with. Right. So that's the kind of stuff we're looking for now with all these in-school visits and in-home visits coming up, kind of guys saying, I'm right there thinking about OVs. And, then those visits kind of put them over the line. They pop. So, of course, we're still going to wait for Peter Bork, Will Wood. I still think quarterback's going to get sorted out here sooner than later. And, there's other guys out there that wouldn't shock me if they made a move here before OVs, but certainly QB remains. We're very high on the QB watch right now. Put it that way.
There's more from that on the S Zone over at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. Sean Fitz wrote about that today. So there's a lot of great stuff on the site. You can subscribe for $1. You'll see the graphic here at the end of the video. If you stuck around this long, please like the video. Subscribe here to the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel, churning these out as fast as we can when they come in and making sure you have a good idea what's going on with the Nittany Lions, giving you the prospect, the view beyond the stars, the view beyond the highlights, the full story of what's going on with these recruits here on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel with our committed series. We'll be back, and we are committed to bringing you every commitment in this class. So stay tuned. Subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time.